Multilingualism. Throughout the world, people may grow up with more than one language. Multilingualism has been a widely known term that can be defined as the ability to speak multiple languages. Multilingual speakers have acquired the so-called the first language, mainly the mother tongue, and other language that are usually acquired from exposure from the environment and formal education. In the context of Indonesia, which is linguistically diverse, numerous local languages are actively spoken. Bearing this in mind, it is no surprise that people can be bilingual at a very young age. Indonesian children can even be exposed to more than one language simultaneously if their parents have different ethnicities. The children can get more exposure from the neighborhood if the family lives around people with different backgrounds. In the case of a cousin of mine, Dustin, multilingualism is observed. He was a simultaneous bilingual as Pada and Lightbound in 2001 stated that being simultaneous bilingual means that a child hears more than one language virtually from birth. Dustin, who has a Japanese father and a Sundanese mother, has been exposed to both Japanese and Sundanese languages. At first, he did not speak the languages even though he grasped the Japanese and Sundanese conversation well. During that period, he also mingled with multicultural neighbors as he lived in the official military residence in South Sumatra. The residence that there were soldiers from many regions in Indonesia. Because of this condition, he spoke only Bahasa Indonesia with other children and people from the neighborhood. As Dustin grew up, his language skill developed. He started to adopt and speak both Japanese and Sundanese at home. Besides, in kindergarten and elementary school, he formally studied not only Bahasa Indonesia but also English. Furthermore, as he attended an international junior high school, he used English as the primary language for communication. At school, he also learned an additional language which was Mandarin. Recently, upon the completion of junior high school, Dustin continued his study in Singapore, in which he used English not only at school but also in everyday conversation. In addition to English, Mandarin was also frequently used when he purchased food and other items at food stalls and shops. This experience is in line with common research about second language acquisition, which define that a person can be bilingual or multilingual when he has the opportunities to receive the second language input, produce the second language output, and engage in the second language interaction. The multilingualism phenomenon experienced by Dustin is undoubtedly interesting to study as it has cognitive and learning implications. At the moment, Dustin speaks English and Bahasa Indonesia fluently. He is also accustomed to reading English books, watching English videos, and joining the English learning community. Interestingly, although Bahasa Indonesia is not widely used in Singapore, Dustin still uses Bahasa Indonesia a lot since he has Indonesian families and friends, and he communicates with them regularly through the social media. He also speaks Mandarin even though he realized that his Mandarin is not excellent as his English. Moreover, as he has acquired many languages, Japanese and Sundanese have been rarely used regarding his being away from his parents. Also, it is not surprising that Dustin chose to continue using the most comfortable language for him. As a matter of fact, from a socio-cultural perspective, the situation happens because Dustin has less time to speak the language he first encountered. Meanwhile, he has more time to practice the language such as English and Mandarin by interacting with communities where the language are spoken. Another point to remember is that aside from the language learned formally at school, putting the first language into the written form has been challenging for Dustin. It turns out that he is very fluent in using the language orally. Nevertheless, he finds real difficulties in transferring the language into written form. According to Dustin, being multilingual has some advantage. The first advantage is that being multilingual can advance his knowledge and skills of several languages. When he is able to speak Japanese, he finds it easier to speak Sundanese because some words are similar, even though some others are totally different in meaning. In addition, he believes that being multilingual has been an extension of being multicultural. Therefore, by speaking some languages, he can be more open-minded in interacting with different cultures and habits. On the other hand, Dustin described some challenge of being multilingual. It is true that he has more than normal speed in acquiring and learning languages. However, he believes that he has less vocabulary in each language as it is sometimes confusing for him to deal with vocabulary from different languages. To sum up, multilingualism may be situated by the family background, the exposure to the environment, and using the language in schools. As a child who acquires the language from childhood, his language skills are improved while he grows up. Mastering many languages has also brought advantages, such as advancing the knowledge and skills in learning and making a person open-minded. Conversely, it might also narrow a person's ability in mastering the vocabulary of different languages.